I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with I do think this is very cool. I'm very proud of this. I love it. But I don't think it's right for this photo, for this project. I have a series of photos that I have been mulling over in my head and I want to try to do this year. They're all going to be inspired by the artist Alphonse Mucha, but the first thing I have to do before I can start any project is I need to address the disaster of a studio that I have upstairs right now. I think this may be the worst that my studio has ever looked, honestly, but I have good reason. I made my sister's wedding dress for her wedding at the end of August, and then I had a month to turn around and make my own gown for my maternity photos. And then I thought I had a month after that to kind of get everything back together and organized before my son came, and he came a month early. And then a few weeks after my son arrived, we turned around and went to New Zealand for my mother-in-law's memorial service. We're past the newborn phase, so he's starting to sleep more reliably and I can think more clearly. So I am ready to dive into a new project. But I will show you, I literally cannot work in that space. There's not a free surface. It's bad. Please don't judge me. I had a lot going on at the end of the year, but we're gonna fix it. I don't know how much time I have before the kids wake up, but we're gonna make the most of whatever time I have. Progress update, I got the bed shoved in the corner. My daughter's saying cheese for the camera. I got this area cleaned up, that cleaned off, so we're getting there. It's still, that's my sewing area, so you know, sewing still cannot happen, but we're getting close. Okay, I have the studio clean, like 95% there, but it's good enough for me to start working on my next project. And the kids are down now for the night, so I have a little bit of time before I crash out because I am so tired. So I think I'm going to spend tonight looking through my fabric selection and seeing what I have, because I think that that's going to be the best starting point for me as far as like figuring out the costume that I want to do and all that stuff. So I'm going to take a gander through the massive collection of fabric that I have that is growing by the day. Since this first photo that I'm going to be doing is for a spring Mucha inspired photo, I really want to go with soft pastels, maybe like a light pink or a light green or even white. I am not really sure. Again, I just want to see what fabric I have that kind of fits those color families. I also think I want something really flowy and ethereal and billowy, so probably something that is a lighter material as well. So I am looking through this to see what sort of things I have that fit that vision, and then if I have multiple options, then I can kind of brainstorm and decide what I like best. Hopefully I'm not just like picking the only thing that's slightly doable, but I really want to use what I have already and not go buy any new fabric because I have so much. Okay, so here are some options I found. I don't have a ton of fabric of all of these. I probably have the most fabric in this one and that one if I'm wanting to do like a full gown. But I might make like a skirt and a bodice, or like, I don't know, skirt, bodice, and a shawl. So I just pulled all of these out so I kind of have a vision for like what fabrics I have at my disposal right now. And then now that I have like a vision for what kind of fabrics I actually have, I'm gonna go to the drawing board and start kind of sketching out options. Okay, I know this looks kind of crazy right now, but like I'm starting to see the vision. So let me explain. So I had this piece that I honestly have no idea where I got it from, but I think there's just like so much going on that the best way to take advantage of like the patchwork and being able to actually see it is to make it into a skirt. And then I originally wanted this to be like really flowy and breezy, but as I'm putting all this stuff together, I kind of have more of a vision of it being like bohemian, folksy, as in like traditional costume kind of folksy. So Alphonse Mucha has like his portraits that we all know where the women are in like really breezy, beautiful gowns with like statement jewelry on. But he also had a lot of series where he depicted women in traditional Czech attire. And as I was putting this together, I started kind of feeling like these fabrics were drifting more in that traditional direction. So I think it might be fun to kind of do a play on that that's bohemian and whimsical and traditional, and still honors Mucha in that way. So what I'm thinking is this, because there's all this like beautiful patchwork going on, the best way to see all of that patchwork is as a skirt. If I made it into a bodice, there's just so little square footage up here that you really wouldn't get to see all these beautiful little patchwork squares. And then up here, I think it'd be fun to just add these like details here and there. And then I think I have, this is ribbon, but I think I have enough to turn this into like an underbust corset and then make a blouse out of this and then fun like sleeves. I might have to dye this, do this in like a brown dye bath to kind of tone it down, because the rest of these are more of like a peachy pink and this is like, I don't know, bubblegum baby girl pink. But I know it looks like a hot mess right now, but can you see the vision? I finally got my two halves cut out, and so now I need to gather the top of them, and then I've been sitting here for literally like 20 minutes trying to decide what to use as the waistband. And I think what I finally decided on, because I was going back and forth between like a ribbon or something, but I want it to be wide enough where it doesn't like get all folded around the stomach, because I feel like if things are thinner, they just kind of leave like a weird like indent, muffin top sort of thing. So I want it to be somewhat thicker and probably do interfacing to give it a little more strength and structure. So I was looking through my fabric and I found these pillowcases that I thrifted a little while ago. And I think this side is probably a little more modern than I want, but the back of the pillowcase, I think, could work. Every year on Valentine's Day, my husband and I have a tradition of going to Five Guys and then Barnes & Noble. It started because we began dating at the end of January, which is like 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. So it was just kind of awkward to do this like super romantic dinner or whatever when we'd only been dating 2 weeks and we didn't know if we would even be dating 2 more weeks. Luckily we did. It was just such a fun little date that we started doing it every year, and now it's a tradition. Whenever I go to Barnes & Noble, I always go to the clearance section first, because I feel like you can find a lot of really fun, interesting books that you would never usually pick for pretty cheap. So this year when I went to the clearance section, wouldn't you believe it, but the first book that caught my eye was a photo book of all of Alphonse Mucha's work, which is very timely considering the project that I'm working on right now. I feel like it was fate, and it was only $15. The best part about it though, other than it being $15, is I've been doing a ton of research online trying to gather inspiration and everything, and this book has a lot of pieces that I, in all my looking online, have never even seen before. So I'm super excited to really be looking through this, and instead of looking on a little tiny computer screen, having like giant versions of all of these images to look at and to bookmark and to, you know, get ideas from. So I'm very excited, and I wanted to share that because, like, how often does this happen? Like, never. Right now, the skirt is very long. You can't see because I don't have enough space in here before I smack my head on the ceiling. But I have the skirt like right under my boobs, and it's floor length. I do not need it to be that long. I really want it to be kind of more like mid-calf. My sister is taller than me, but I feel like I can take probably these. I'm trying to find, because not every row goes all the way across, but this row does go all the way across. So I think I can take off these 2 rows and then attach them on the side so that it's even more full, and it's the length I want. So I think I'm going to seam rip those off on both the front and the back, and then probably attach it to the sides, which means I probably have to undo all this gathering stitch, but it's okay. I was going to go ahead and gather my 2 pieces attached to the waistband, you know, move along, but I decided that I am going to make a petticoat, and I'm going to make the petticoat part of the skirt. I don't know why I decided to make this more difficult for myself, but I just didn't want to have to go buy a petticoat when I have like 5,000 yards of tulle and all the materials to do it myself. And my goal this year is to be using up more of my materials because it's getting out of hand up here. I'm using this fabric, which is either from my wedding dress or my sister's wedding dress. I'm not really sure, but it's left over. And I'm going to cut it not quite as wide as the patchwork part because I don't want to have like a ton of gathering right here around the waist. And then a little bit shorter than the skirt so that it's completely like hidden underneath the patchwork part. And then I'm going to add gathered layers of tulle in tiers, thank you, around this skirt so that when you put the patchwork portion on top, it's nice and floofy. Okay, I have my 2 halves. Now I'm going to, because remember the skirt is 2 halves that get tied and then tied, so they don't need to be sewn together yet. Now I have on my tulle that I ironed a while ago, and it's not like completely smooth, but it is smooth enough for my purposes. So I'm going to fold it up and then cut through all the layers at once. Hopefully that will make it go a lot faster. I think I'm gonna do like 10-inch layers, or 10-inch strips, I mean, and then gather those and use those as my layers of rufflage. Okay, so I have it folded down about like 8 times so that now I can place it on my mat with my rotary cutter and just cut like this and that will give me strips. Okay, with this little stretch of tulle, I have more if I need it, but I'm gonna start with one first. I got 3 10-inch wide strips and 2 about like 7-inch wide strips. So I'm going to take these to the machine and gather them all and then lay them out on my petticoat material. By some miracle, my daughter was entertained with her own activities up here in the studio while I was working on my sewing, which has literally never happened before. So I made the most of it. Off screen, I got quite a bit done because I didn't know how much time I was gonna have. I was not focusing on getting the camera out and explaining what I was doing, but I got the petticoat finished with little grommets in here that the ribbon comes through, and it's a drawstring waistline. And then I did half of the skirt. Now I'm working on the other half, and my goal is to get both halves of the skirt done tonight, and if I have even more time, to start adding the tulle strips to the petticoat to start giving it more volume, because as you can see, it just kind of like is flat, and I want it to, you know, go out and be voluminous and fun and all that stuff. So that's what we're gonna work on. I'm gonna try to get this done fast. While I was cleaning, I remembered that I had this petticoat that I was going to donate because I already have a few. And I realized that instead of just reinventing the wheel and making a new petticoat from scratch, I can just hem this one, make it shorter, and it'll be perfect. So that is going to be a huge time saver. Both kids are down for the time being. My son is not great at taking long naps, so we'll see how long this lasts. Excuse you. We had to take my son in for his 6-month checkup, so we are in town. I thought I would run over to Hobby Lobby to see if they have supplies to make the headpiece that I want to make for this project. We're about to go on a road trip, driving out to Utah to go to my sister's college graduation. So I'm gonna need a craft to do, and I thought making the headpiece for this photo shoot would be like the perfect road trip activity. So we're gonna go see what they have. It is the same day, but I changed clothes after we got back from Hobby Lobby because I felt the need to do a quick little thrift flip, and I turned this dress into this top this afternoon. Very happy about it, so I needed to wear it. I thought I would show you everything that I got at Hobby Lobby because I got a lot of stuff. So first up, I did say at Hobby Lobby that there were some silk flowers that I wanted that I didn't get because they were not on sale, but they did have all of their spring stuff on sale, and these florals were part of that. So I got a few. I think I might want more. I'll check again next week. Hopefully the sale will change because there's always something that's 40% off there. I also got some better organizers. I have some stuff from Dollar Tree, and every time I take it on a road trip, the lid pops off and then I get beads and sewing materials and stuff all over the car. It's super frustrating. So I got new ones that are actually so good that they're hard to open, that hopefully will keep it all contained. I also got new tools because the ones that I have are forever years old and really dull and not really doing their intended purpose anymore. So it was probably time to get new ones. 2 different gauges of wire. This is a really thick one. to do like the main structure, and then this is a thinner one to get like the more finer details. So all the beads and everything were 40% off. Butterfly wings, I got a bunch because they were $3, 40% off $3, so like a little over $1.50. So that is everything that I got. I am going to save most of this for our upcoming road trip. My other hope before we leave is to get everything structurally done that I need to do with the sewing machine on the costume, and then I can, while we're driving, add embellishments to like the skirt, because I'm thinking on the waistband I might want to do like some beading and just add a bunch of fun stuff. So that is my goal for this week. It's Friday and we're leaving next Friday. That is the plan for this next week. It is Friday, my favorite day of the week, because it's the day that the babysitter comes in the morning and I get to just work on stuff uninterrupted, as long as little brother naps, which he is doing excellently right now. So I came up and I started working on the headpiece. When I left off last, I decided that I wasn't going to use this headpiece that I had made because it just didn't quite fit the vibes that I was going for, and I really needed more of a flower crown. So I actually brought back out the first crown that I made on our road trip. I made this one and then I wasn't in love with it, so then I worked on this one. I still feel like the quality of the craftsmanship is not as great. However, because it's going to be more of a flower crown, I really just needed it as kind of like the structural base underneath, and you're not really, I mean, as you can see, you're not really going to see much of the crown itself. Rather than having to remake a third crown, I'm just gonna recycle this one, and I experimented with adding these little flowers on it, and I am liking it so far. I think this is going to be the one. I just did these two off camera because I wanted to kind of figure out how to do it. It's kind of fiddly and I didn't want to be just like getting really mad on camera. But I think this is going, now that I figured it out, I think it's gonna go smoother, and I might actually save this for when I'm in bed working on stuff. It's cute. I'm liking it so far. I probably need to kind of like mess around with, you know, where it's sitting and stuff, but you know, I think it'll be pretty.
I didn't know when I found you that I would find a love so true, and you can see it in my eyes. That girl you've got me. You for sure, girl, my love is always yours. Something's changed, baby, this I know. Summer rains turn to winter snow, but I promise you for sure, girl, my love is always yours.
I was so frustrated that I put all this work into this piece and this piece, and I didn't like either of them, but I'm so glad I went back to this first crown I was working and just fiddled with it a little more. It's perfect. I think it really kind of fits this vibe. It's not like completely just a flower crown. It's kind of my own take on it. It's a little bit of a mix of like a tiara and a flower crown, but I do think that it kind of has like Art Nouveau vibes. So very happy with this, and I think it's gonna look so cute with the costume. I did the bottom row of beading on this skirt, and then there is one more row I want to do because I'm trying to hide the seam, the hemline, so I just have to do one more row around the whole outside of the skirt, and it is nowhere near as complicated as this beading.